So, in that kind of moment of finality there, um, this which had occurred later during nightfall, you guys, kind of switching back, have made it back to where the train was when you left. It is still there.
I said we'd be back.
So did I, many times.
I said way more than you.
I'm
I
just.
said we'll be right back.
We were very emphatic about that point.
It's been multiple
It's been-
hours since you guys left.
1 week since we left. Is the guy still a little unconscious?
As you get
I butted
onto the train,
By this point,
uh,
in either way, no.
the train, which now is, hovering in place as it has been, you notice that kind of the lights extending out into the darkness have, been turned on. And as you're approaching, you see rolling out, kind of like turning out of the doorway, you see Shando, who's leveled her rifle at you, and after a second of recognition, kind of twists it up.
We're back. We made it back.
It is no exaggeration that we were literally about to leave.
Said we'd be back.
Well, glad that you didn't.
Considering how long it's been, a thank you would be in order.
Yes, thank you very much for not leaving us in the middle of the desert. I
said
appreciate
we'd
it.
be back, and it's good that we're leaving and ready to go.
Yep.
Good.
I on the side of the train, like, let's get this puppy rolling. It's like,
Rev up those fryers.
And she's like, first, and she kind of, makes room for you guys to go in. She's standing now next to Zed, who's got a tremendously large goose egg on the
she
side.
did do a very good job of taking care of it.
She looks at you. So, he's filled me in on what happened while I was passed out. Care to explain?
Well, we got out there and didn't find our friend, so sadly, I think
That's
we're gonna have to
after.
go back and.
I shot a really good shot at a bird. Some kind
Oh,
of.
he
flight.
did. Yeah, it's pretty messed up.
How far away was it? It was like at least
200 yards.
200 yards.
Zed, who's been, kind of like standing there, you hear like a progressively faster tapping of his foot, and he
Okay.
finally like, stomps, and he's like, "You hit me in the head!"
Yeah, that was my bad. I thought you would probably leave us, so I made an assurance that you wouldn't leave us.
If it wasn't for her, I would have.
Oh. I said we'd be back, and I was just making sure that we'd be back in time to leave.
And he kind of looks at her, looks at you, and is just like, "You aren't getting paid."
I wasn't in it for the money.
Good. And he kind of like, after a moment, just kind of, and he like kind of pushes himself up to now what he's kind of, looks like a very rough kind of seat.
I'll maybe try to help him a little bit.
And he just gives you like the biggest death stare that a small Yosoki can do, and he just waits as he's just
He's looking at me.
yeah, he's like staring at
If
you.
he sees my pupils, they kind of just drift apart a little bit. As slow as they can, they just kind of.
And his one eye is kind of like kind of partially covered just because of the goose egg, and he just like looks at you, and he's just like
I get that reaction a lot.
kind of pushes himself up. And you can see now that it appears that what repairs he's been able to make, there's still large holes in the console, but he's moving through all the controls, and you feel the kind of engine starting to spool up.
Seems
So-
like the engine's fixed.
Shando looks at you all.
Can't be that impaired if you fixed it this well.
I'm just that good.
See,
I guess, yeah.
good at his job, takes pride in it. It's good.
So, I take it you didn't find your friends.
Nope. Sadly not. We're gonna have to go back and look for him, I guess.
Well, that's certainly fine. You can, of course, do that on your own time.
Yeah, we got to get back to our ship.
Well, being out here, I mean, there's not a lot you can do, but I mean, we're going to the Hive Market, so by then, I'm sure we'll be able to have your ship meet up with you.
Oh, good.
Sounds very efficient.
I mean, are you able to communicate with it at all?
Yeah, it's we have to be present for it to be out of lockdown or whatever the procedure is, but
Fair enough.
yeah.
Well, Hive Market has transports, local ones that you'll be able to take.
Nice.
Just kind of pats Zed on the side of the shoulder. All right, let's go. And the door kind of slides shut as you guys all are now in the train area, and the train begins to make its journey to the Hive Market, which is still a decent distance, but now obviously that you're on a vehicle, it's a much shorter travel time, and you guys get there to probably mid morning. Sun hasn't come up yet, but I mean it's still as you guys are approaching. See, when you're approaching the Hive Market, you assume looking out front. I'm guessing you guys haven't not really planning on doing anything on the journey
gonna-
there. Just
I'm going to take time to fix up Buzz a little bit more since I can do that once a day.
okay. Yep, and you certainly have enough time to be able to do that.
I score my gun with a little image of that bird I shot. The head clean off.
All right, fair enough. You kind of with your knife.
I do that. You know those faraway drawings of birds where it's just like a beat.
And I mean, you think it looks pretty good. Yeah,
Another
absolutely.
shot.
Yeah, definitely is. A nice mark for you. So
Right next to the water element.
exactly, there you go. So as you guys are now getting into more leveled off sections of the desert, as you guys are passing through the large expanse of the Kaviri Plains, as you're slowly kind of cresting around a very large kind of sand dune, you see this large rock formation. Looks almost like a volcano from a distance, just in the general kind of like cresting of the terrain around it. I mean, it's very noticeable just from the distance that you guys are out. Are still a good ways away, but what kind of marks it as odd is that there's very light but very numerous motes of illumination on the outside, and it seems to start at the very base and just climbs upwards to like the top portions. And looking, you see kind of in the night sky a blip of what most likely is transports kind of coming in and leaving. Eventually, as you guys are getting much closer, the scale of the Hive Market seems to really come into more clarification. And where it previously from a distance looked like a volcano, as you approach, you realize that it's not just a singular kind of rock formation. It's several, and it looks more jagged. There's sheer pillars, almost look like they were just kind of pushed to the side, and they're all encompassing each other, at least from where you guys are approaching. But you see there's large grooves in some portions and huge tunnels that seem to be bored into all the sides. And you see some of the larger ones, ships actually flying into and out of. So it definitely shows, by its namesake, it definitely replicates that kind of hive architecture. It looks like.
Anthill.
Of sorts, yes.
Upside down Midgar.
So you guys, as you're coming in, see more and more outskirt industrial kind of buildings. But eventually while they're sparse, they get a little bit more at the base of the structure. And the train kind of makes a large kind of turn into this very industrialized section. There's not many people about in this area. You see a lot of like loading machines kind of moving, probably automated ones. But eventually the train does come to a stop. And you hear the final kind of as the train kind of locks into place into what appears to be kind of some sort of train docking station.